This conference will now be recorded.
Nice shirt, Eric. Ford. I like it. Oh, there you go.
I work at a Ford dealer.
Nice.
Hold on. First time using the printer since the lights went out the other day.
Craig, one thing we need the drawing to have is the scale.
Yeah, it's there, Judy. I think you have to
Like,
scroll
it doesn't
down.
tell us
Scroll down, Judy.
Did he
on
get
what.
any
This is
pictures?
what came through on the printing.
Sorry.
Right, isn't scale on? Oh, a scale on there. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we don't know how big anything is. We don't have a scale. We don't have the north, south, east, west indicators.
You
Yeah,
have-
the north, southeast,
You have
west.
the actual lot. You have to actually the actually surveyed the actual surveyed lot.
Yes, but this isn't a site plan lot.
They have the big, huge.
You have the big. Doug brought the huge, the actual whole thing.
Yep, hold on. I have the big thing, which we couldn't scan, but I sent them the smaller, same one of the smaller versions emailed. You should have.
The big one shows that 1 inch equals X and so forth. It has, you have all of that on the big one, which Leanne has.
Right, and which we can't copy a big plan like that.
I
But
don't know what else how else I can do it for you.
I know. Let me see what this, doesn't the small one isn't quite, where they do capture just a part of it? Let me just see on the small one.
Yeah, it
Actually,
wouldn't count.
shows the lot.
Oh, it's cut off, right, where it says catch basin. So the big plan that I have, which I can't show you because we don't have a scanner in Tilton to scan large plans like that. I can tell you there is a north, south, east, west, and there is a scale. I could show it to you.
So does the one you have show us the snow storage, all that?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and, I don't know if you can even see it if I hold it to the camera.
I mean, so I'm just trying to understand. So the one you have, the smaller one, it has where the lake is, it has where the road is, it has the exact lot, and it has all of the sizes of all the boundaries as well.
Craig, let me ask you this question. Do you have a scanned copy of the, of what was sent out?
No, I just have that. I just had that large.
Sure.
You have what I have, Craig?
Yeah, I don't have that anymore. You have what I have. We gave it to you. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, boundary plan. It's the same thing as the small one. I'm looking back to what's online. I can try. Let's see. Seeing what's missing on this tax lot. I mean, it's pretty much the same, with the exception of you don't see US 3 on there. You don't see the catch basin. I can try and take a photo with my phone of the large plan and put it up. Should I try that? Let me
So
see.
could I just try chatting a little bit?
Sure.
Let's see if that helps. So here is the road, right? Here, I'm just trying to get the finger right. Here is the store that's there, just to show you where it is. Over here is where the condos are, and the lake is up in this area here, right? So that's what you have, and you have the old post office here, and you have the old trailer here. Now, if you take what we're looking to do and you lay it right over the top, it'll show exactly what we're looking to do, which is to put, this is the store, this is the road, and this is where our sign is right here. We're looking to put these parking spots in here. I'm trying to get this working backwards here with my finger. This is the parking spot. This is the 30-foot food trailer here. And then all of this is going to be green space. All this is going to be green space. And the access to the lake will be fenced off. So no one will have access to the lake or dock for privacy for the people in the condos over there. Plus, we don't want that. So we're going to be blocking that off. And that's what we're looking to do conceptually.
So planning board, I just emailed you a picture of the entire large plan. If you check your email, you should have that. You might be able to blow it up on your email. I think I got the whole thing on the photo.
Did you send it to me, Leanne?
I did not, Janice. I can send it to you. I just sent it to my planning board group. Let me see.
That's fine. No, don't bother.
It's okay. Take a minute. It's going to you now, Janice. Did any of you get it yet?
Not yet.
It has an attachment. It might take a minute.
So in talking with Brian Bailey, he feels that there will be absolutely no problem with getting a DES approval on this. That's what he tells me anyway.
Craig, do you have a place where it shows us where the existing wells and the existing, you don't have septic, right? You have sewer there? Or
Yeah,
is
we
the
have-
old
we have
building
town
on a
sewer.
septic?
Yep, we have town sewer and there is no well on the property. The only water that came on the property was from the lake. And then since we've bought it, of course, we don't, Adrenaline Motorsports that was there isn't there. We didn't want tenants, so we got rid of them. And so we have, there's nobody on the property now.
And you're not even going to have any septic or water because you're not
No.
building a building, right?
No, well, so we have the food trailer there, and it makes a lot of sense because I was talking with Brian. He says, why wouldn't you why wouldn't you at least hook up to the sewer? So when when you're washing your hands and so forth, it would just go down the sewer. So, but that's something we can certainly discuss. Because right where the trailer is the food trailer is right where the old the old mobile home is. So there's septic right there and power.
Is that Tilton sewer or is that down Lockmere? Who has the sewer there?
Tilton sewer, I think.
Tilton.
It's
Yep.
Lockmere water, though, I believe. Right?
Is it,
We have a well at the store. We have a well. I don't believe there's town water there.
Across the road, just right? No?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I just know that our store is on a well.
is that town?
Thank you for sending that, Leanne. That's a lot better.
You get it? Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be seasonal, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, it's not going to be a winter thing.
Yep, nope. It's only going to, because we were looking at all kinds of things, what to do with this. And we just said, well, what's kind of the best thing for the store? We have as we know, that area right there is very challenging. So the parking is very, very needed. And also the green space and people to sit and enjoy their dinner, lunches and stuff like that. We thought this proposal had the least impact to that property. So it's really, the food thing would only be from the middle of June for 3 months. It'll be 3 months a year. And then the food trailer will be closed, and then people will still be able to park there and use the picnic tables and so forth.
So the snow storage could conceivably go where the food trailer is for winter.
Storage? No,
So we wouldn't have to worry about that.
Nope, no storage.
Snow storage.
No storage, no.
Snow.
Oh,
Snow.
snow. Oh, yeah,
Yes,
no.
Eric.
No, the only thing we would do, and it would make sense, is we would keep the parking spots plowed for the winter, because it would be extra parking. You know, there's even now there's just such a limited parking at the store. It would really help.
Okay, Eric, I recognize Eric Pyra.
Yes, Madam Chairman, we have not accepted this application as being substantially complete, so we're discussing
You are
things.
correct.
So we are discussing things that we should not be discussing at this point.
You are correct. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So have the planning board members looked over the application, and are there any questions on it?
I'm losing all my stuff here. I get what I got a better image than we did at the last meeting. So I guess for this second, I lost my other email. Hold on.
Eric, let me just resend that email. I can do that if that's
No, I
easier.
got it. I have too many windows open. So
Okay.
I mean, at least I think if we accept the application as being substantially complete, we can actually start getting answers to questions, questions to answers, and all in between. So I'll make a motion to accept the application as appears to be substantially complete.
Do we have a second from the board?
Second.
That was Christine.
Thank you, Christine. Is there any? Yes. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, and it needs to be a roll call.
Ira,
Let's see, who do we have here? Christine?
Yes.
Tilton, yes.
yes.
You still with us, Fred?
Was
Yeah,
that Fred?
Yes, I'm here.
That was
Hear me?
Fred.
Yeah,
Yes. And that was affirmative, Fred?
that was affirmative, yes.
Thank you. Now we can discuss the application.
Yay.
I was not at the last meeting, but looking at the minutes, there was some concern from the abutters in regard to the traffic pattern.
Yep.
Has that been addressed at all?
Well, I talked with Bill McLean, right? I think he's on tonight. And we just chatted, and he can, he'll be speaking for himself, of course, but he conceptually has no issue with what we're trying to accomplish over here. There was only one thing that he would like potentially see done, which was, and Brian is looking at that. He's a little concerned that it won't work. And what Bill would like to do is actually flip the two, put the parking spaces on the other side and the trailer on the other side of the lot. But Brian has concerns about because it's a one-way coming in, and it would be almost a 180 turn in for the parking spots that would be the way it is. So we're looking, but certainly, and I told Bill that we're going to be looking at that as a possibility. But that was one of Bill's concerns. A couple other things that he had was, porta potties. Of course, we're not going to have any porta potties. And I don't remember. I don't have in front his list of concerns. But I think the main thing was he would like to see the parking on the other side in the food trailer, but closer to the store. But I don't know if that will work for the flow of parking. So Brian's going to be looking at that, and then we'll make, of course, a final proposal to you, and also discussing conceptually what you guys want us to put on there too as well.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So I'm superimposing your labeled plan where it says mobile home, and I took your handwritten one with the that, and I have a flashlight behind it. So it looks like the way you have this drawn out, where it says rectangle and a square that says old truck body storage shed, and then it says T fence post at angle. It looks like in that whole area there, including the 7 from lot 7, you're going to make that parking. That's going to be additional parking. Now, according to the plan that you have drawn out, that is currently not, that is ground. So you're going to pave over that area.
That is correct. So we looked at that a little bit more and talked with Brian. And again, he said DES will have no issue. He says, if you're going to make some parking, put some parking in there. Make sure you have plenty of green space so you address all of that. They're going to like that. Blocking off the access to the lake, that's a good thing. But the whole idea here, besides putting the food trailer in, was getting a few additional parking spots for us. And he said, and he thought that this was a nice compromise to be able to do that. And again, he said he doesn't see any problem getting that accomplished with DES.
Well, here's my, you've talked about Mr. Mc,
You cut out, Eric.
You're frozen, Eric. Come back.
square and rectangle are.
He
Eric,
doesn't.
you had frozen up. So could you back
Oh,
up?
Leanne, you're muted too.
am I still there?
Eric,
You're
you're
back.
still there. You're good now. You don't want to back up a little bit from what you said, from the
All right.
time you said, yeah, okay.
If you try to address Mr. McLean's concerns, and I haven't heard from Mr. McLean, so, but based on this, if you took that trailer and put it where that square and the rectangle are, and then you can expand a little bit of parking because you kind of already have a nook there, possibly for parking. That's already there, so you're going to have minimal impact on that, and maybe just pave that. And I don't know, and in this way, it also would probably discourage people from going down towards trying to get to the lake.
Well, they won't. I mean, there'll be a fence there, of course, by the lake, so there'll be no way for them to have any access to the lake.
Where there's a will, there's a way. So
There's a what?
where there's a will, there's a way.
On any property, I guess. But if we put up a large fence across and a gate that says private property, I mean, I think that's certainly going to take care of that.
I'm just trying to I'm looking at this and trying to move, the objects around just to see if it would work.
The only other problem that we would look at, and Brian was looking at too, is that the parking spots are closest to the store. And that was the whole idea. So when people pull in, and also you have the one-way street where I'm trying to do this here backwards, so I can't feel it right. But the one-way goes this way. So when you come in, it's a natural, to pull in here and just pull right up into your spots, and then walk through a walkway without crossing a little parking lot right to the store. And then if you're that's just seemed because the one way goes, I'm trying to do this here. The one way goes this way. So then you would just be coming down. It just seemed he thought it was just a much more natural way for it to work, to flow, for it to come right in here. And then when people leave, they would leave this way. But then this way they would park there, and then they could just walk, then there would be a nice little, protected walkway right to the store here.
Yeah.
So that was his, that's what he felt.
Right. I was just looking at it, trying to address the abutter, but I know we haven't opened this up to the public yet. So
This is a curiosity question. Who owns that little one-way street? Is that a town right of way? Is that?
Yep, that's a town. The town owns that. Yep. That used to be the old route. That was the old Route 3.
and technically, Judy, that is one way. Traffic on this picture, traffic would flow from the food trailer side to the right side towards the store.
Correct.
In a perfect world, but we know they don't all follow the rules. And I know at one point the owners of this property were trying to get the one-way changed, and I don't know where that is.
But we had looked at that, but after talking about it and really looking at it, talking with your police chief and with Jeannie, that because if we got rid of the one way, people would have a better access, certainly from the light to come in, to the parking spot, but you'd lose the spots on the street that are there. And I like the spots on the street. So I think the one way now makes sense to me. At first it didn't make sense to me and I looked at it, but the one way does make sense to me now. It controls the traffic in that area. People come in one way, leave one way, and you have the spots on the street, which I really would want to lose because every spot is so valuable. The only thing I'm going to ask the town is there a possibility of making it like an hour total parking? I mean, people actually come. I mean, I can't believe it, in July, and they literally park in front of the store and they leave their car all day there. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. We got 5 spots in front of the store, and they do that. So anyway, that's something we would like to talk about to the town, if they would consider maybe making it an hour or 2 hour maximum. But it's working fine. We're just trying to add a few more parking spots to make it a little bit better.
Does anyone from the board have any additional comments, questions? Not seeing any, I will open it up to the public. Do we have anyone at the public that would like to comment? Everybody's comfortable?
Well, Mr. McLean went green. Oh, Mr. McLean went green.
Awesome. Yes, Mr. McLean, we recognize you to speak.
Hey, Bill, you there?
Maybe not.
I think he's having technical difficulties. I think he has some things to say.
Do you want to try phoning in, Mr. McLean?
Mr. McLean, we can't hear you. If you can hear me, if you want to try calling my phone, you can call 540-4038.
Hold on one second. I'm going to text him right here. 540.
4038.
540-4038. 540-4038. I'll text him that right now.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Bill, we can't hear you. Try calling this number.
Hello?
Is this Mr. McLean?
Yes, Mr. McLean. He was trying to get the volume up on his computer. I'm gonna shut the computer. Hello?
Hello. Okay. Yeah, you got your mic off.
Yeah, okay, I'm on the phone now. Wow.
Yeah, let me.
Bad parrot.
Turn off your computer.
Okay?
Okay, I'm going to put you.
I'm gonna try try the computer.
Okay, he's trying the computer again.
Okay, if you can't get through, if you want to call me back, I'll turn you over. Okay?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
You can.
Yay!
Can you hear me off the computer?
Yes, you are off my phone and on the computer.
All right, Mr. McLean,
Okay.
you have the floor.
Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, Greg and I have spoken a couple of times about the concepts. As far as flipping, my only concern was is that the possibility of having the truck, food truck trailer, closer to the deli in that all his equipment is there, his water. I don't know about. He said there's no surge, but there's something there, and there's power. And the last meeting was also speaking about what are you going to do with your trash and all of that sort of thing, and the extra grease and all that. And he's got the dumpster right there, so that's what they thought was a pretty good idea. Also, parking, I can't argue about that. That's the designer and everything else. But that was my thought in terms of getting the trailer over towards the deli store and putting the parking over closer to our privacy fence. That's what that was about, and the environmental issues in terms of the fragrance and the smoke and the exhaust and that sort of thing. But that's what I had suggested there. The other thing I'd like the board to do was, and Craig spoke about the porta potties. If there's not going to be porta potties, what are people going to be using for bathrooms for the basically three food establishments that are in the area, the deli, the food truck, and Lobster Connection? Because right now, there's no bathroom facilities for anybody except for a tree. So, hello?
Yep. Here.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to address
And
that, Mr. Wiseman?
in the first meeting, I also gave a list of other concerns that the four families that live here, if the board has that, I'd like to have them visited again in terms of
Bill,
other things. So,
Bill, do you have your list right there?
I do. I gave a copy to all the board members.
Well, go. I don't have it in front of me, Bill. I did read it over real quickly. Just go over your concerns real quick. Read each one.
Well, one was, as you've already mentioned, am I talking to Craig?
Yeah, I'm here. Yep, that's me.
Okay, on the board. One, as you already been talking about, is the parking that jammed up, and them, customers to either place is going to end up, they use our parking lot, and they park right in alongside my mailboxes, alongside the front entrance, and there's been times that we can't get out. So,
So Bill, to address that real quick, I can't control what where people park, but the problem is that there's additional parking needed, and that's why I'm looking to put some extra spots in there to hopefully try to
Yep,
help that out a little bit. But I hear you.
Right. Maybe we'll get them to park on the road.
That would be good.
Yeah, and the biggest thing would be the public bathrooms. That sort of thing. I mean, I don't know if you spoke about the business hours, but and the dock you've already spoken about.
Yep.
And you're removing that condemned trailer, which is great.
Yeah.
But basically, it's key things I think as far as our side of things is what are we going to do for people for public bathrooms?
Right.
Not having porta potties.
Craig, isn't there a bathroom at the market?
There is. Yeah, we have a bathroom. Yeah, we have a bathroom at the market, so people are welcome to use that. But so we put a couple porta potties there. We didn't know that it wasn't the correct thing to do at the town, just to try to kind of service all the people that are around. So I don't know what if I can't do that, I don't know what another answer is, except we do have a bathroom. We do have a bathroom at the store that people, of course, are welcome to use.
Wow.
Is it one bathroom or is it
Yep.
like?
Yep. It's one.
So it's one.
Yep. But I don't have to, I think, now I'm just making sure, I don't think legally I have to provide a bathroom, but of course we're going to, and that we want to, and that's why we put the porta potties out there, because we thought it was a good service to do. But I guess that's not okay with the town. So of course, then we're not gonna, we won't do that. And people have access to the bathroom in the store, which will be fine.
That would be a question for our health officer, I believe, of what are the bathroom requirements, or is a porta potty accepted? I don't know what the rules. I don't know what the town rules are on that off the top of my head.
Well, porta potties are not allowed, although we have some porta potties in town. And it's not a eat-in establishment. And I think that's what Craig was alluding to. He doesn't have to have a bathroom because it's a food truck. It's a food truck with picnic tables, so they're not required to have a bathroom. We certainly can ask the health officer, but I think that's the answer. I know we're not allowed porta potties. However, I do know there are some porta potties in town, around town property. And maybe if the planning board feels that that's something that would be a benefit, we can talk to the health officer, and that's something I guess you could waive, but they are not allowed.
Yeah. And we would be happy to.
Another conversation, Bill again.
Hi, Bill.
Another conversation that Craig and I had is that there are trailers which are made and designed to be public bathrooms. And the trailer has its own containment. It has sinks in it. It has like about 3 or 4 stalls for one side for women and one side for men. I know this because my nephew had rented one in order to for his wedding, because it was off down the beach. But the point of it is that if you move the truck over to the deli, you can put that stream of bathrooms, that bathroom trailer, or add on to the deli in order to appropriately put some bathrooms
The
into
problem,
the.
Bill. Yep, the problem, Bill, with that, I thought about that a little bit more. The problem with that, they're very expensive to rent, and I'd have to rent it for 3 months. Plus, they take up a lot of space. I don't have a lot of space over here, and I don't
Okay.
have to have a bathroom. But I want to try to address it. But I looked at the cost of those things, and they're so big, and
Yeah.
they're expensive. They're very expensive, and we just couldn't afford to. And we don't. And it would just it'd just be this big ugly toilet that would be is not what we're trying to accomplish. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. I was just thinking of things that we could do to keep it, environmentally safe and workable through the whole thing. Because in my notes that I gave to the board last time, there were males taking their thing and they were doing it against the back of my fence and in those little bushes, while the women were using the porta potties. And I got grandchildren, and actually the stints sometimes when those things get filled are pretty obnoxious to be in the area. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. Does anyone from the public have anything else they'd like to have for input? All right, then I will close this portion to the public and come back to the board. Anyone on the board have any additional questions? Yes, Eric.
Well, I guess I would like to try to address Mr. McLean's concerns by seeing if we can flip it and put everything closer to the building. Then because there can be odors and smoke from it, depending on what they do in a food trailer. If they're grilling, or if there's an exhaust fan that's blowing out the exhaust.
But Eric, I'm just saying, which is fine. We'll certainly look at that to see if it makes sense to do that, which is not a problem. But you have the store deli right there that has all of the, friolators and all of that. And also on the left-hand side of this piece of property, you have the lobster connection. So, talk about and it's right there. You have, frying lobster and all of the stuff right there. So I think that, cooking, serving some ice cream and frying some chicken fingers, I don't see that as this strong, obnoxious smell.
Well, I can't take the lobster connection into this because it's not part of this site plan. I can
But it
only,
is part of the whole, but it is something that is directly next to that piece of
it's
property.
not part of this site plan, so I can only take what we're discussing here, and try to do what's best for making it better.
And that's what we're trying to do. Absolutely.
You know, I mean, it's a good. The bathroom seems to be. When you said you tried to look at bathroom, and again, I don't know what process is off the top of my head, but did you look at a trailer or did you just look like at a simple, portalette?
Well, we had porta potties there, but the town doesn't want to let us have those there. So we don't legally have to have any, so we won't have any.
No.
But I'm not going to go and take up something and bring in this huge thing that has, a men's side and a woman's side.
No, I'm not looking for that. I'm just thinking, like a porta potty. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's great. And what I was going to propose with this is to set up a porta potty somewhere on the back of the parking lot. I'm just saying, right? Like somewhere in this area out here, kind of back out of the way. And maybe fence it, maybe fence it in, make it look attractive. So it's not just this, porta potty sitting out in the middle next to a picnic area. But I would need, I'd need town approval, of course, for that. But I wouldn't be opposed to doing something like that because I agree with Bill that I think there's certainly a need for it,
Does that wood frame building have sewer in it?
You mean the one that's there now?
Yes.
The wood frame building? Yep. Yeah, there is sewer there. Yes.
You have sewer on either side of that lot.
That is correct.
And water.
I have no water. No, the water they took in from the lake, and that's why we immediately stopped doing. We never had anybody in the mobile home, but we did have the motorcycle repair shop there. And then of course, we didn't want there was motorcycles and snowmobiles all over that lot, so we didn't want.
The mobile home, they had water and sewer hookup or just sewer hookup?
They just had sewer hookup, and they had water that was taken out of the lake. There was never a well there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Scanlon, did you wish to speak?
Yes, I wasn't too quick on the microphone there, unmuting, so sorry about that. But I know the market's always been a very good business and a good person to work with the town. And I know this will be a great improvement for the area. One of the things I think that might help with Mr. McLean's concern is that when it is done, that the landscaping or bushes or anything like that would be done in such a way that doesn't provide any type of area that's secluded that would encourage somebody to sort of crawl behind it and urinate. And if it's cleaned up like that and, blocked so people can't sneak around back or stuff like that, and maybe put some signs that there is a bathroom inside for patrons. That might help address the toilet issue. I know before, I think years ago, there was a porta potty that was installed up like almost close to the bridge. I don't know who put that in or what the provisions are temporary, but perhaps, something could be worked out with the town and I speak as a citizen, not as a selectman, to have a temporary type thing. I'm not sure, but that's it. I think Mr. McLean and presenter can probably work something out with that, making it so it's no secluded areas for that.
So, Mr. Scanlon, this is Craig Wiseman. So, so a couple of things. I think that's a great idea. One of the things that we want to do, and the folks in the condo are thrilled about it, is at our expense, there's all these pine trees and a willow tree and all these other trees. We're going to be removing all of those and cleaning all that up. So it will open it up. We can all have no problem putting signs up saying that there's a bathroom in the store, even though this is a kind of a separate business, a separate piece of property, but I'm happy to do that. And if we could, before there was a porta potty that was done, or two, that was on the other side of the store closest to the dock. And that's where they used, when we first bought the store a couple years ago, that's where those porta potties were. They were literally, when you walked off the dock to the store, they were right there. And I don't know. I guess I wasn't thinking. I was thinking that was where we put them was a little bit better, but maybe it wasn't a better spot. Maybe the better spot is over by the dock. So when people come right off the dock, they'll have the porta potty use right there. But I guess we would have to have a like a temporary permit or something from the town to do that.
I would, hello, Bill McLean here. I would, the part of, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Bill.
Okay. Cause my desktop's all messed up. But anyways, I would agree with that positioning. It may take a little bit of, tractor work, some landscaping, and putting the two of them over there near the dock, because if there's a fragrance, whatever wind's coming through off the lake is going to take care of it, whether it's, and it also would allow whoever's maintaining it to get to them much easier, because Rowell's really had a hard time trying to maintain the one that was over closer to my fence this past summer. But if that's an accommodation, that I would agree with that as far as being in the butter, because it's not near our property. So the environmental issue would be cured being over there near the old ramp and old dock.
So, and the one last thing I just want to mention, and I just want to mention this because I guess I just want to say that we really want to be good neighbors. I mean, we've been trying to be good neighbors from the beginning with everybody around us, and try to work. Now, this piece of property, we have one dock now that's by the store. Everybody knows where that dock is, and it gets filled up fast. We do have another dock that's on the outside of where the other, where the other thing on where this little strip of land is. There's another dock there, and we originally wanted to set that up as another access point for people off the lake to be able to come to the store. But after chatting with the folks at the condo, we understood that it was just going to be very invasive for them. And it's a small area, there's a small beach, and it would just not be good for them. And so we decided, because it was the right thing to do, was to block it off, and so there would be absolutely no public access to that whatsoever. I'm just mentioning that to the board and to Bill. Bill knows that we've been trying to work with them. So I just wanted to let the board know that we're really trying to address all of the issues that we really feel that are the right things to do, and we felt that was it was costly for us, but it was the right thing to do.
And I have to agree with Craig. The conversation, and that's why I just stated it. If you wanted porta potties to accommodate the different things, I just asked that if the town accepts the porta potties going over near the bridge, of course on the property, with a little bit of landscaping, that would be a perfect place for it, because then environmentally it's not going to affect as many people. Let's put it that way. But I know the one we had does affect environmentally where it was last year. So yeah, I have no problem with porta potties over there if that's what the board would like. That would solve that problem.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Anybody else from the board have any questions or comments?
No, I'd like to be able to see if we can see different layout options if they fit this.
Now, is this is no longer conceptual. This is their full meeting, right? Trying to catch up.
I have a feeling that we need to continue this. But
Judy, no, this is an application. You've accepted it as complete. It's a regular site plan. They do need their DES permit. They're working with that. It's conceptual in that, as Mr. Wiseman said, I mean, they might flip the plan, so we need to know that. So there's a few, I guess they need to know what your issues are and what you, if you're going to address the porta potty, we need to find out about that. He would need approval from the town. So there's a few things that we still have to look at. And I guess Mr. Wiseman would like to know what direction, right?
That's all I'm looking for is the direction to tell
And
me
then-
what to do so I can need my marching orders so I can get Brian working on the DES part of it. And he is also looking at, you know, to looking at what's the best use of the piece of property, and the best flow for the parking and so forth. So this is the way he believes is the best, but I'm not opposed to looking at it. But the problem is, again, if you change the parking, you're going to be you're changing the flow instead of, I got to do this backwards here, it's hard. Instead, the one way comes in this way and comes over to the spot. The other way, it's one way, and somehow you got to turn and come in this way. So, but anyway, but certainly we can look at that. Is that something, you know, that the board wants us to look at? I don't really see I mean, again, you're parking for the store. The parking spots are now by the store, and so, you know, so you have easy access to the store and so forth. You have the food trailer, then you have the picnic area over by this nice corner section, which kind of opens up, and that's going to all be the picnic area. And so that's how it is. That's how we and Brian had looked at it. But certainly, we can look at it another way if you really think it's necessary to.
Okay, so what are the board's feelings? Do they want to continue? What would you like to do? Do you have any recommendations from everyone?
I'd like to see a final plan, so I would like to continue.
So how about if I'm going to say that this is my final plan?
Well, there's too many up in the airs for me that
Like
I would like to see the site flipped.
Why?
Why? I'm addressing the butter's concern about that, and I want to see if it can be done.
But Brian said the parking is much better this way, and it's much safer for the patrons that are accessing the store. That in his opinion, this is the highest and best use for this on this property. And we're talking about selling ice cream and frying a few chicken fingers. And if you look at the big map, that this food trailer is very far away from the condos, because they have only parking right on the other side of that food trailer. If you look at the big map, on the other side of this food is at the end of their parking lot. Their house, their condos are way inside that real narrow piece of strip that we have there. That's where their condos are. They're not even close to that, to that food trailer. So I don't think that, honestly, I don't think that concern's valid. I really don't.
Christine, did you have a comment?
No.
Oh, okay, you had unmuted, so I didn't know if you had something you wanted to say.
Thank you.
Eric?
I need to see a final plan of
this is my final plan.
This is not a plan drawn to scale. This is a plan drawn with some green color on it. If you want to get technical with me,
you asked me last time, Eric, that you weren't happy before we were told just to draw something. This is going to be conceptual. Then there was you had brought up drainage issues and all stuff. So then I said, okay. So I go to Brian. We got the actual surveyed lot with exact sizes with all of the buildings. And then we showed conceptually what we're going to be doing on that property. If you overlay, they overlay perfectly. So there's no question about to scale and size. This is exactly what it is. You see the parking spots, you see the food trailer, you see the green space. I don't know what else you're looking for, honestly.
There was a concern brought by the abutter, if it's possible, to move and flip the trailer to the other side. You have a sewer hookup there. You've already said that in the other building, the building that's currently there, the wood frame building, you have a sewer hookup. Okay. If I want to get technical, I can say I'd like to see the drainage off the parking lot because you're expanding the parking lot, and I don't know where that water's going to go.
And the DES permit that Brian's going to get will address all that for you.
Do we still have Fred?
I'm here. Yes.
Okay. Do you have any comments, Fred?
I agree with Eric. We should have a final site plan, final plan design in that sense. There's, like you said, there's so many up in the airs. We need something final.
I just want to know what is, so I want to make sure, because I came to the last meeting and I'm not upset. I'm just trying to figure it out. I came to the last meeting with a certain, what I thought was going to be okay. Then I was given more, I needed more detail. I gave you more detail, and I'm saying that this is my final. So I don't know what else you would like me to do. Like, I don't know what exactly you would like me to do.
Like Eric said, there's a you brought up on a butter. I'm wondering if we could flip it the other way. I think we should try to see that out to the best of our ability, and to address all concerns so everyone's happy all around, and that everyone's,
So, but what about my concerns and about what I'm looking with the highest and best use of the property? I had a surveyor and a land surveyor look at this, and this is what he had said was the highest and best use, the best flow of traffic because of the one way and so forth. I mean, so we can delay it again, and I can come back to you again and say, talk to the surveyor. I can get a letter from him, and he said that this is the highest and best use of the plan, and then we're going to be back at the exact same spot we are right now. I mean, I can do that if you want. I just don't know the benefit of that. I mean, we looked at this a lot. We really tried to address all concerns in terms of even safety to our customers and their access to the store. They're parking here. They don't have to walk across a parking lot with cars coming in and out. They're going to walk across the one way that's coming in. It's a much easier flow to pull in a car. You pull in this way, you back out, you come out.
Your idea at all. I'm just trying to address the butter concerns, just like Eric is. I'm not opposed to your design. I'm not opposed to it at all. I'm all for making the area better and stuff like that. So.
Yep. So, but all I'm just saying is I'm just trying to so it doesn't get put off another month. I mean, this is what the land surveyor, this is what I sat down with him, and he said, this is what he believes is the highest and best use of this site for what we're trying to accomplish and the safest. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I can go and have him design something else and just say, well, he designed this too, but it's not as safe because now people that are parking, they're walking across, they're doing it. They're gonna come in and pull a 180 when they pull in. They're gonna pull a 180 to come into the parking spots the other way. And I'm just saying, I understand Bill's concern and I do respect it, but I mean, like I'm saying, what I addressed to you is that his biggest concern, his only concern, was the smell of the food trailer. And what I'm saying is, if you look at the big map, you can see that their condos are very far away from that food trailer, and we're going to be selling ice cream and chicken fingers out of that thing. So I just don't understand. I understand his concern, but what I'm saying is I'm going to make sure that it has all the hoods and all the ventilation stuff, that it's going to be all to code, and it's going to be done correctly. I honestly, I think he will not be disappointed with that. And I just don't want to come back in another month and have Brian at expense of redesigning all of this and do it. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to say, I want to do this way. I'd like you guys to look at it and vote on it this way. Like, I want to make this my final plan because I think it's a well thought out plan. I think we addressed a lot of the neighbors' concerns in terms of the big one is not using the dock. That's huge. That's a massive concession for us, a massive concession. And so now we look at the whole thing, how it's clean. We're taking all the trees down at our expense. We're looking at all the green space, the parking. We're trying to address everything. I think that we are being extremely fair, and I think we're trying to address all the issues. So what I'm saying is, this is my final plan. I think we've done everything everything we need to do.
Hello,
Judy?
Bill here. Oh,
Yes, Eric. Christine, go ahead. We haven't heard from Christine yet.
So I was looking at what Leanne sent us. It looks like that is a plan from July of 2018 or 2019. And he's just using the drawing to place over that, which doesn't, like Eric, saying, it doesn't give us any details. What are the spaces, what size are those parking spaces? What kind of landscaping is going to be there? Nothing, because that is an old plan that I'm looking at.
Well,
maybe the surveyor should be doing
the architect. It's the architect. I mean, it's the one that's on. It's the one that's on record.
Yes, but you're changing it, and when you provide a plan, you're supposed to provide us with details, like the size of the parking spaces, the size of where the snow storage is going, and none of that's on this layover drawing.
I can tell you the parking spaces. They're 9 by 18 for the perpendicular parking spaces. There's 16 feet behind them. So those are the sizes. They're 9 by 18, the spaces, and there's 16 feet behind it. That's what it is. So there's your sizes for the parking space.
But on the drawings.
Okay, you can write it right down. I'm just telling you, they're 9 by 18 is the size of the.
I don't know if that's not.
Wow.
Okay, I'm all set, Judy. Thank you.
Mr. McLean, did you have a final question?
I have one couple comments. One, I don't want to be the one that messes this up because I am in favor of the cleanup and everything else, as you can tell with the trailer that's right beside us on the other side of the fence. I would not want Craig to miss the opportunity to clean up the area. If he, as he just pointed out, that if he is sure that the truck is going to have probably a better ventilation system than what Lobster Connection has, that would take care of one of our problems. The other one is if the town concedes that he can have porta potties, then I request strongly that they go over towards the dock he has over near the bridge. If that's at all accommodating, then we would be then our concern about flipping would be mute as far as that's concerned, because it's the porta potties, the environment that's going on in terms of what's being cooked in the truck. That would be satisfied by a couple of the comments he just made in terms of the cleanliness of the exhaust. That would satisfy the condo association.
Quick question for you, Leanne. The porta potty concern, is that something that selectmen have to give a dispensation for?
Off the top of my head, and I'm not in the office to do the research on that. I'm thinking it's in the zoning ordinance that porta potties aren't allowed, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So I'm going to have to find out where they are, which ordinance or regulations that does not allow them, and then we would have to go from there to get an exception if that's the direction that the planning board wants to go. Also, I guess while I just have the floor for a minute, so it sounds like we do have a couple issues. One is the porta potty that's undecided, right? Whether you're going to require them or not. So I haven't really heard a final decision on that, and what we have to do to get that, where it'll be located, and how it will be screened. I know Craig offered to put some screening or fencing around it, which would be nice. And once I believe that Craig gets a direction, I don't know that Craig, that you're going to get the final approval tonight, just, I think, to be clear, because this is the way I see it, just to kind of summarize, I think, what the board and do. We have a, this is an,
Leanne,
yep.
excuse me, there's a lot of feedback on the lines. I don't know if everybody else is experiencing that.
Mr.
Maybe
McCoy,
Bill could mute, I think. There you go.
Thank you.
thanks, Craig.
But Leanne, just really, could I just address one thing really quick? Real quick, I'll do it super, super quick.
Yep.
This was a conceptual, so this was our conceptual, and
Right.
and we're right there. Now I was talking to Brian again, and he says then once you're in general concept, you agree that this is a good idea, then we go to DES, and now DES will have everything that you need, all of the drainage, the rain gardens, the everything that you'll have all of that on the DES
Right.
approval, that you'll have all of that detail, including specific sizes and everything. And the size of those parking spots too, they were sent to you in the package that was there, but it's okay.
And, excuse me, and then what would have to be submitted for your final approval would be this existing plan, and then page 2 is the proposed, the actual site plan drawn
Absolutely.
on this, right? This surveyed plan is what I think the planning board's missing. That, like you said, shows the parking, the sizes, where the porta potty, if there is one, is going to go, so we know exactly where it's going and where the
Well,
trail.
when you have that, I mean, that to me, in my mind, because I apologize, I'm not really good with the process, and I apologize for that. But and to me, it was that if you are good in concept with this idea, then the DES permit or the DES part I would submit that to you, would have all of that detail, and then the final approval, of course, is you.
No, it's not quite like that, I don't think, Craig. I think DES will approve a plan you put together, and I believe Mr. Bailey will look at all those issues, and DES will tell you what you need, but they need to be put on an actual plan. And I think it can be done by your surveyor, where he'll put your actual plans on there that with approval from DES. That's how I think it works. And
Right.
then
I was talking to Brian, and he just said this is what he understood the process was that this in concept, you guys say, yep, we kind of like this idea, this is fine, and then he puts then the application to the DES, which will have all of that detail. So because if I don't get approved by the DES, then we have no more conversation.
Right.
And
right.
so once I'm approved by the DES and I come to you and I say, this is the final approval from the DES with all the detail, then you'll have everything on there for you to make your final.
Right, because we need a final plan to be signed by the board and go into the record. Right. So
right.
I think.
And I just want, I'm sorry to interrupt, Leanne.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay. It's okay.
I just get and because what I'd like to do is tonight is if you guys were in concept, you were okay with it, let me now go and do my job and get the DES, all the detail done and over, and get that finished. And then I'll come back to you, because I have 60 days, and then come back to you with that final for you to look at, make adjustments to, and move forward then.
All right. Is the board in agreement to what I just laid out? Or, I mean, I'm not saying in agreement to conceptually, but just to how the process is going to go from here. Or is there any issue with that? So why don't we just get that squared away?
Board recognizes Eric.
Well, I'm looking at his plan right here, and I'm reading on page 28 of the town parking regulations, 3.5 parking regulations. So the parking spaces in the town of Tilton have to be 9 by 19. And then for two-way traffic, which this would be, you need to have 24 feet of clearance. And I don't see, based on this drawing, I don't see how, I don't know if that's 24 feet there, because those last couple spaces are there. And then is there parking? There's a few parking spaces. If you look on Google Maps, there could be some parking spaces in there, and they're not noted on there. So I don't know how many parking spaces we have. And then if you get into that, restaurant, diner, and eating places is 1 space per 2 seats plus 1 space for each employee on the largest shift. So, how many seats are they going to have? We don't know how many seats they're going to have in their picnic area. How does that work, Madam Chairman?
Leanne, I'm going to defer to you because where it's an outdoor seating, I don't know how that runs.
I mean, if the parking spots, the 9 by 19 and the 24 is a town thing, then that's absolutely what Brian will put in for the size. We have plenty of space to be able to do that. So he'll address that, that town dimension.
Okay, Leanne?
Yeah, again, this is a food truck, which is not, has no quote seats. How many picnic tables are you going to have? Those picnic tables are going to serve.
It's basically a park area, so people can come in off the boats. They can grab a sandwich out of the store. We're gonna get patrons from the Lobster Connection that's gonna come over and use it. It's just gonna clean up the whole area, and I just think it's gonna be, that whole area is gonna be it's just gonna be a cool little area with people coming over the Lobster Connection, sitting there, the store, and having some ice cream from the food trailer and sitting down. I mean, we didn't think about exactly how many picnic tables we wanted to have there. I didn't know that was important. We were going to put some out there so for people could use and enjoy, with an umbrella or something like that. That's all.
Judy?
Yes, Christine.
Could I get some clarification, maybe with you and Leanne? Everything keeps saying conceptual. Is this a conceptual meeting or is this a site plan?
No, it's not a conceptual meeting, but he before he finalizes whether he flips it or the direction or spends more money going to DES, he wants to know if this is even viable. So it's submitted. You can continue it. You can say you're not going to allow certain things, and then maybe he'll withdraw his site plan application. I mean, I think he's looking before he goes and spends a lot of money on his state approvals, whether this is even something, it's more than conceptual. I mean, this is his site plan. He will submit a final plan for final approval once he gets some of these issues ironed out, I believe is where he was going. So he's in
we can't vote without a plan, right?
Right.
So there's no question what we need to do tonight then, because we can't vote without a plan. That's a drawing that doesn't tell us anything. We can.
So I understand what you're saying. So tell me now exactly. So when I come back to you, I can give you I want to know exactly what you want, because what I don't want to happen again is to come back again and then have you go, oh, there's this and there's not this exact spot on this side. There's this. I mean, I want to know exactly where we stand so that I can get you exactly what you need. I thought I did. And if I didn't, I apologize. Then tell me exactly what you want, and then I can put it together. If this isn't, because I understood it was, again, it was a conceptual conversation tonight. I go to DES, I get the permit, I come back to you with the final plan with all the fancy stuff on it, and then you go, yep, this looks great, or no, I don't like it. That's, but if it's going to be a different way, then I need to know in detail what you want to see, not just in, I want to know. So when I come back to you again, I give you everything you need so it doesn't get put off again. That's all. I'm just trying to get the stuff accomplished before next summer, because I know the DES is going to take time.
Leanne, can you work with Craig and show him what a final site plan looks like? Show him some samples?
Yeah, I can. And I think Craig understands what a final site plan looks like. I think he just doesn't want to go too far if the board is not in favor of the concept. I think we're using the word concept as to make sure that it's something that's going to move forward. If he meets your conditions.
I think most of the parties on the board have said they're not against this being, better. If that's the answer you're looking for conceptually, but we can't make a board final decision without, a detailed plan.
Right. So, I mean, I think Craig has to just go for his DES when he does his final plan, which I can work with him. It has to meet all the regulations, including parking. We'll look at, I don't know if there's a reg for a food truck, but we'll see if it fits into one of the boxes for how many parking spaces you need. We'll make sure he meets those parking and the aisle width like we did for Sea Light. And he'll submit a final drawn to scale surveyed, stamped by a surveyor plan with the distance of everything, and there's for your final approval for conditions, and we still have to work out the porta potty.
Yeah, I'm good with that, of course.
Leanne, can we ask you to check with the health officer tomorrow?
100%, yep.
And if needed, I can bring it up as the ex officio. I can bring it up if needed before the Board of Selectmen on our meeting on Thursday night.
Yeah, I'll look at where it's called out, which reg it's called out in. I don't know, like I said, I'm not sure if it's in the regs or in the zoning, but we'll find out where it's disallowed and so we know which way to go on an exception if that's, sounds like the board wants to go that way, is that right? They're looking for relief from that for one, if it's put in the right location.
No pun intended.
If it's put in the right location and screen, that's something that the board is in favor of, is that what I'm getting?
I guess we'd have to see where it is. Wait. Yeah,
Okay.
and so just to let you know, on page 37,
Yep.
water and sewerage. Is that a right word?
Yeah.
10.
37 of what? What are you in?
I'm in the town. I don't know. Hold on.
You
I'm
on
in
the
town of Tilton zoning regulations.
It's in the zoning. I thought it was in zoning. Okay.
Yeah. You just made me lose my spot here. Hold on. So page 37, 10.5.2. All dwelling units in commercial. Wait, let me start over. 10.5.2. All dwelling units and all commercial, public or industrial buildings shall be connected to a sewage disposal system. When a public system is not available, a private sewage system is required. Portable toilets, commonly known as porta potties or outhouses, shall not be acceptable. There's an asterisk.
Right.
The type, size, location, construction of all septic tanks shall be conformed by all rules.
Right. Yeah. So that's where it says you can't have porta potties. But again, you fall into, is this a commercial building? It's a food truck. So
Now there's a reference to 14 point something. Let's see.
right. You can't have any dwelling or building without some type of sewage. That's obviously that's a building code as well. But again, a food truck, Chick-fil-A doesn't have bathrooms in their food truck. So it is a little bit of a different animal, and we'll look into make sure. I know you can.
Reference to the Chick-fil-A though, they have access to the outlet restroom. I think that's within connection with what they allow with the restaurant itself. I think the main concern was that there wasn't enough restrooms to service the food truck and the restaurant.
Well, right, and as Craig said, he has a bathroom next door as well, kind of like the outlets have a bathroom somewhere. But the reg that I think Eric is referencing to is that property with that structure is supposed to have a sewer system, and my point is that it's a truck or it's portable and may not fall under that requirement. But I do know that porta potties are not allowed. So
yeah,
I think
because the food truck would be tied directly into the septic and sewage system that's already pre-existing on the property, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Does anyone else on the board have any additional final thoughts?
I have one more thing. Go ahead, Eric. You're a member. I'm not. Go ahead.
Judy, Madam Chairman, I just had a flashback. There was a place on Route 3 over by Lockmere and Newhall. Remember, it was like a little barbecue place that had opened up. It was like a trailer.
I remember that.
Yes.
Did they have I want to say they had a porta potty there, but I don't ever remember that coming in for site plan either. So I think that was a hawkers and peddlers.
It did. No, I didn't get that either.
There are definitely porta potties around town. Some probably.
No, there are. There's one on the island.
If we can kind of summarize some of the issues that you want addressed so we don't stumble in the future. The porta potties one, I didn't know you touched on landscaping. Are you looking for some kind of landscaping identified on the plan? Or I know he said he was moving trees, so I think we need to know that now. I don't want him to come back and then be looking for we don't have a landscaping regulation, so if there's something specific. we should put it in now.
Well, I
And
guess
the trash cans,
if he's going to put any type of screening in, or in there, because we had an issue recently where they didn't put the plants that they set in. So I would just want to know if they put screening in or if they're going to remove screening. I just want things a little bit labeled.
We were just gonna take some trees down,
Okay.
take all the trees down, and then put some picnic tables in some grassy area. That's what we wanted to do. We didn't, again, like the other gentleman was discussing, I didn't want to build too many big things so people can like hide behind them. I wanted to keep it nice and open and clean looking.
We had said something about along a fence, so maybe I'm just confused, which is possible.
no, I just wanted
All
clarification.
right, so
Landscaping was thrown around a little bit, and I just wanted to make sure, because we did get into a little mess last time, that we're really clear on what we wanted. So go ahead, Judy, I'm sorry.
no, you had one more thing, Leanne, you said?
No, it was just the landscaping,
Or
I
did
think.
you forget?
No, it was the landscaping I wanted to address, parking, and yeah, that was it.
So obviously he has to have the parking correct. He has to have, we always ask for snow storage, and he's already addressed it verbally, but he can put that on the plan because it's
Yep.
on every plan we do.
Yep.
Um,
And I'm
DES
thinking
will be
all of that
taking
all of that detail should be on the DES permit, I'm assuming. And so I think that's what Leanne, I'm just thinking, just so I get the right direction, I'm going to take the concerns that the board has tonight. I'm going to put them in my application to DES, so everything is addressed on the final plan, that with their approval, then I'm going to bring that final plan to you and say, here we are with all your detail. Is that what I'm doing, Leanne?
Yep, and we will not continue this because we don't know when you'll have it. So when you do have your plan, when you let me know you have that, we will send out a butter notices at that time for the next meeting it's got to be within 65 days. Or we need
Great.
and if we're not, we need to ask for an extension. So
Yep.
for some reason
And
that could come up.
And you're going to address,
Now,
and you're going to look into the porta potty thing and let me know on that.
Yep, I will. I'm going to let you know what we need for a waiver for that. And I will let you know, and the parking requirement, not so much the size, that's specific, but as Eric pointed out, what the number is for a food truck based on picnic tables. Do you know how many picnic tables you're going to have, Craig?
I don't, but I guess what I can do is I can back into that, which is fine. Based on the site, I can have so many spots that make sense. I don't want to make the parking start to jam them in there so it starts to not make sense and gets funky. So I want to do that, and I can back into the picnic table. If it's, if I got I can put 2 picnic tables. I can put 3, I can put 5.
Okay.
I got plenty of space to do that. I don't have to put picnic tables. I can have little sitting areas with a seat with a little, like a gas fire pit. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about a nice little area for people to enjoy themselves, but I can always back into that. That's not
Okay.
Mr. Pyra, you had another question?
Yeah, do we continue this to the next meeting so that we don't I don't remember, because I've always thought we've continued until, so that we don't have to cost the applicant more money to renotice.
Well, you can continue it to the second meeting in January, and then if he has no plans by then, which he probably won't, we can do a second continuous to February if you want to do it that way, Eric.
You mean continue it until I bring in my DES plans to you?
Well, they're going to continue it for the purpose of noticing, is Eric's point. So you
I got you.
continue.
But my marching orders now is DES final detail to give you all the details so you can have that as your final.
Your final approval, and then they'll do final approval on any, if they give you the final approval with any conditions, they can always add conditions at that time too.
Sure, no, I understand that. And that's what I was trying to get from this, is like, just what are the real concerns here so I can address them all and, and move forward. But I've got some great ideas.
One thing we've recently come across is our ordinance, Leanne, with trash cans for food establishments.
Right.
So we want to make sure.
Thank you, Judy. That really was the thing I was going to say, and I had forgotten. Yeah. So there's supposed to be so many trash cans based on parking spaces. We have an ordinance, and I can get that to you.
Yep.
But
Nope,
again, I
that's-
know,
And
Yep.
just so, everything at once.
Yep,
Yep.
I understand. No, that makes all the sense in the world.
yeah, and that doesn't go on the site plan though, the trash cans, it's kind of it's a litter ordinance, but you should be aware of it. So I can let you know what that is.
Great. And we always, we do whatever we have to do. We try to do all the right things.
Okay.
Do we
So I
have a
guess we'll
motion on the
continue.
board?
I'll make a motion that we continue. I don't know the case. Hold on.
2005, I think. 2005.
5, yeah.
Make a motion that we continue case 2005 to our January
26th, I think. Is that
20.
right? 6th? Yeah.
January 26th, 2021 meeting.
Great. And Leanne, I just want to kind of, for the record, that I just want to make sure that everyone understands that. So I understand too, that I'm going to now go to the next step, which is the DES, and I can get you all the detail that you need for that final, for that. So it doesn't continue. Right. Okay, good.
Right.
That's what
And
I'm
then,
going to do.
and then we'll be in touch. And then if you're not ready to come forward, which you probably won't be by the 26th, we'll just
Right.
talk. I'll come to that. I'll put you on the agenda as to be continued again, and they'll just continue you again.
Awesome.
Okay.
And then we can chat too, and you can give me everything that you need, which is fine.
Yep. Okay.
Well, I really appreciate everybody's time, and thank you. I'm not trying to be difficult at all. I'm just trying to do something good here. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we take a vote? Wait a minute. Eric,
Oh,
did you
yeah.
have?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Christine.
Welcome.
We need a roll call on the vote, please.
Judy, excuse me just for one moment. Judy?
Yes,
1 second. I didn't catch who made the motion.
Eric.
I did.
Eric.
And it was to continue it until the 26th?
Correct.
Thank you. And seconded by Christine, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Okay, roll call vote. Pyra,
Ira, yes.
Ambitsky.
Zambitsky, yes.
We still have Fred
I'm here. It's a yes.
and Judy, yes. All right. See if I can still find my agenda now.
That was all we had for public hearings. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
Good night.
We have some other business.
Yeah, we have Jen and Eric Adams that wanted to speak about their plans for Pest House Road. And this is just discussion only. Okay. I don't know who's speaking, but you guys are on. Jen?
You want me to talk, Jen?
Yeah, Dave, that'd be great. Thank you.
Hi, Madam Chairman. My name is David Krause. I'm here with Tom Daniels and Jen and Eric Adams. They're proposing to possibly subdivide a lot off of their property on the Daniels property on Pest House, Caleb Hill Road. If you'll allow me to share the screen, I can just pop up a little sketch map that you guys can look at.
Sure.
Can you do it from your end, Leanne? Okay.
You can do it, I think. He can just hit screen, right? You got it, Dave?
Um,
What do you want? Share screen? No, it's not letting you do it?
Oh,
just
it's
ask
allowed.
the organizer.
What's that?
It's telling me to ask the organizer to make me the presenter.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
You the boss, Dave.
Yeah, let's see. Organizer. And how do I? Let's see. David Krause. Make presenter. Look at this. Okay. I think. Yes. You are good, Dave. You should be able to do it now.
Can everyone see that?
Nope. Oh, now he's
Yeah.
coming up.
Again?
Okay.
All right, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse at all or not.
Yeah, we can.
All right, Caleb Hill Road comes up here and makes a sharp right-hand turn. The property to the left is Pest House Road with the road to the left. This It's from the tax map. It's just the Daniels property. They'd like to subdivide off a lot. Originally, they were going to try and subdivide down on the class, I think it's class 2, it's town or DOT maintained section of Caleb Hill Road. But DOT came out to look for possible driveways, and there's definitely some driveway issues to subdivide off on that side. So we're here tonight to see what options or requirements the town of Tilton has for subdividing a lot on a class 6 road.
Where's their current driveway, Dave?
The current driveway from the house, there's just a quick left onto Pest House Road, and then it's right up in here. I believe I looked at Granite, and it looks like there's maybe a couple 100 feet of Pest House Road, if that might be a class 5 road, according to DOT. But it obviously doesn't go far enough as class 5. Has this come before the board before? Do you guys know if there's a policy or anything like that?
If I can talk, is my mic on now that I'm on the? So there is a policy for, I think I talked to Jen and I know Jen definitely, I talked to about this, that they have to go before the Board of Selectmen for approval to build on a class 6 road. I think your question is more directed at the subdivision.
Yes.
David, they're asking more so than the driveway, right? Because they're gonna have to go to Selectmen for approval for the road.
Both are important.
Because we
Is
had
there
one
any
other.
poten-
Go ahead, Judy.
Is there a potential to make the current driveway a shared and then branch off after you're off the main road? I don't know where you're thinking of subdividing, so it's just throwing stuff out there to. Just a thought.
No, because his driveway's.
Yeah, maybe Tom or Jen, could you, I'm not sure exactly how close that is or how feasible it is.
Well, right now, the existing house that's there, Pest House Road is their driveway. So we would have to go by that. So we would be like sharing that class 6 road to create another driveway.
Like you literally pull on to Pest House and that's how you get up to that house on the corner.
Okay.
But it's not very far up Pest House Road where we would, once you get up there, where we would want to put a driveway. And I did see through other paperwork that it has been approved for another house on Pest House Road by the Board of Selectmen, and I believe the Planning Board as well. Yeah, I think both. I have paperwork on both. I forget the address.
It's 135 Pest House Road. That was the one I gave you. That was from John Bernard. Yep.
And I think that is actually on the other end of Pest House, towards the Franklin end, is my guess. Because
Yep.
Okay, so we wanted to talk about the subdivision because before we get it subdivided, we wanted to make sure we'd be able to build off that road and subdivide the property as well as run a business out of the home that we built.
So again, I don't know about the business, but the first step is got to be to get approval from the governing body to build on a class 6 road. So I have it's, it falls under the state RSA 674. So I believe, and which is what I think I mentioned before, that that's your first step. It's good that you came to the planning board because I believe the selectmen have the planning board weigh in on that approval. So they'll be aware of this ahead of time for when you go to the selectmen. So I would think you would want to get that approval first before you decide whether you're going to subdivide.
Does
the business is another issue. I don't know what. I'm sorry.
Does the planning board see any issues with this subdivision if it is approved at the selectman level?
How many acres is that, Dave?
The total lot, I think, is at about 40, rings a bell.
43, I think. I have the card. Hold on. I have it right here.
And how many lots are they looking to do?
The lot is 40 acres. One lot, just one lot for them.
One, possibly two at most in the future, I think is what we discussed.
Yeah.
I mean, in a perfect world, it would be nice to subdivide on the class 2 section, but doesn't look like DOT would like to give a driveway permit there.
That's a tough corner.
Yeah. There's no line of sight anywhere. So we got a lot of road frontage, but it's right on the hill and the corner. So
I drive it every day.
There is a requirement for that agreement and release that the town provides is what you would go with the selectmen for. I don't know if the planning board is familiar with it, but there is an agreement that's required that releases the town from any responsibility because it's on a class 6 road. And we have
I guess my other question that I believe would be for the planning board as opposed to the select board, but I'm not positive, is, we're trying to figure out before we spend all this money if we can even do what we're thinking we want to do. And we want to be able to have a business on the property in that area. So I guess that's the second layer to this is, will we be able to run a business that's, I don't think it'll fit underneath the category of home business. I think it'll be different than that. And before we decide to do all this work, we need to kind of know if that would be approved as well. Yeah, Eric?
I would recommend looking at I believe that's, I don't know off the top of my head, but I believe that's zoned rural agriculture, and look at the town's chart of permitted uses to see if your proposed business idea is allowed there. And then if not, then you have to see if it's permitted there and start that. Because not knowing, we can't really give, it's a concept, we're just having a discussion, so we can't really say yes or no, but that's a place to start looking at that chart of permitted uses.
And
Right.
then
Go ahead.
once we look on that chart and figure out what we think, like as we read whatever it is that's laid out there, what do we do next?
So I think we went through this a little bit. So if it's an allowed use, you still have the issue of it's going to be a residence and a business, right? So you're going to want 2 uses there. And if it's not an allowed use, then we definitely have to go to zoning. You need to get a variance to allow that.
So is zoning?
What was the business one that you were going to do? What was the business, Jen, that you were proposing?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you ask me. We want to have a wellness center, so it's going to be like an open studio where I will teach fitness classes and other types of life and wellness coaching will happen there. And once we build the space and have the open space, we're also considering on other times renting out the space for smaller gatherings like baby showers, maybe small wedding, something like that. Eric?
I'm just being polite and trying to get reaction from Judy. Having a little experience running a previous business in rural agriculture, I believe you are going to have to do ZBA, just be based on stuff that we had, that I had to go through. So I think you're going to have to go to ZBA.
Okay. Is that zoning board?
But I don't know. I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking anyway else, just from personal experience.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're looking for, is like just any type of input, guidance. We know that it's a long process. We completely understand that. We just want to make sure we're doing it the right way, so we're not taking up your time, we're not taking up the selectmen's time, we're not taking up the zoning board's time. And the the last thing I want to do too is keep going back to meetings over and over. So, and I'm sure that that's the same with you guys. So any guidance, stuff like that, Eric, is great to know. And it gives us, a little input as to how the next steps. So what was, Eric, you had mentioned what the RSA, was it an RSA for, yeah, no, there,
No, I think Leanne mentioned an RSA.
So I'm sorry, what was the question?
you said that there was an RSA for was
The
it the
road?
zone?
Well, there's an RSA for the road, for building on a private road or a class 6 road. That's RSA 674:41. That's a state ordinance. You need permission from the governing body. That's the
Yeah.
first thing. The zoning ordinance is online as well with the list of permitted uses. And again, Jen, I think we went through that, but yeah, Eric is probably right. I don't believe it is. I know it's agricultural. I have the card here, and I don't have the
Isn't it residential?
It's residential agricultural is what it's called. Yep. And there's a online, I guess I could click now, but you just need to go on there and look, or you can come in and send an appointment. We can sit down again and go through it and look at what's permitted. And if it's not permitted, then you need to apply to the zoning board for a variance. You need to do that before you come to planning. Now, if you were just building a residence, you wouldn't have to come to planning because they don't oversee residential property. If it was just residential on a class 6 road, you would just need selectmen. But if you're going to do a business and you need zoning, then you're going to have to come to planning.
Okay.
Okay, because it's a business, a commercial business.
So let's say that the selectmen say yes and zoning, we get it approved. Then we come to you guys with the plan, like basically a site plan all laid out.
Yep, pretty much like they just went through. If you watch what they went through, only, yeah, you would do, you'll have a vacant piece of land. So then you'd have to show any wetlands, you have to show where the building's going, the setbacks, what you're building, what the type of business is.
Yeah.
Is there a specific type of form or something that?
Well, there's a site, you would need an engineer to do it, I would think. You need to do your plans. And there's a site plan application form, which we have at the office. There is online, you can look at. All the applications are online. So the zoning board application for variance is online and the site plan application is online.
Dave, do you have more questions?
No, I think I'm good at the moment. I was just looking at the permitted uses and I'm trying to figure out
where it would fall. I know. That's the tricky part of some of those charts, is trying to find what box it fits in. I mean, is there a category gym? Look at gym, indoor facility.
No,
C3 indoor commercial recreation amusement facilities.
There you go.
Or C2 privately owned outdoor recreational facility is something I see.
Which are all not allowed?
Well,
one is, one's not.
Yeah, one's permitted,
one's not.
I'm just looking.
Which one's permitted, Eric?
That's the one you're doing.
Yeah.
Privately owned outdoor
recreational facility.
Well, we will be outdoors at times, but not in the winter.
Well, then you fall under indoor.
Yep.
Or would it be seasonal?
Yeah.
With the residential piece as well, I believe you're going to have to go to zoning anyway, because you're going to be using it as a residential and a commercial piece. So it sounds like you're best going to zoning and getting that resolved before you move forward, and then take the commercial piece to planning. I think that's the way to go.
Okay.
It's going to be really good and keep our community healthy. All right.
Anything else?
I was gonna say, unless the planning board has any other comments, I think I'm good.
We're good.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Jen and Eric, call me, any other questions, I'll help you with the forms and stuff. We'll go through it
Okay.
again if you do, okay?
Great. Thank you all for your time.
Thanks. All right. Next thing is the zoning amendments. Do we want to go through zoning amendments tonight?
Madam Chairman,
Oh,
Yes.
a public person out here, could I squeeze something short into the other business category?
Judy's frozen.
Yes. I'm frozen. Yes.
Yes, I may.
Yes.
Thank you. I just want to put in a couple of comments to the board concerning the meeting of the 10th, which I attended. As you may remember, those of you who were there, I made a short presentation on the issues surrounding 100 Autumn Drive. And at the conclusion of my comments, I had several questions I asked. The chair at that meeting said that the board would have to take that under advisement and to do some research. I just looked at the tape. I didn't write down the exact quote, but it was that the board would have to continue this again until we've had more information. Taking that to mean that the board would not be discussing it that evening, I left the meeting. I was a little surprised to find in the minutes from that meeting that indeed the board had discussed that issue later in the meeting. And it wasn't clear to me whether this was a decision-making discussion or simply a discussion. But nonetheless, as I say, having been told it would not be discussed at that meeting, to have it then be discussed at that meeting without any opportunity to comment on assertions made by the board, I think suggests that it should be discussed more openly. That's comment number one. Comment number two, it was asserted, and there seemed to be a growing consensus amongst the board members that the proposal that 100 Autumn Drive was making was not an expansion of use. And as I said, when I made my comments, a quote from the land use office to the people proposing what's going on at 100 Autumn Drive, the letter to that 100 Autumn Drive states, and I'll quote this one, upon further review and given that the building permit in this instance is proposing no physical expansion of the building where the residential adult recovery center expansion of use is to take place. So the letter from the town of Tilton describes what is taking place is an expansion of use, which is the precise language in the condition of the approval of that project was said to require an site plan review. So I just wanted to point that out, that there was no opportunity at that meeting to make this comment to the board. Secondly, and then I'll close, it was also asserted at that board meeting that there would be no change in the site plan, that this innocuous tripling of the use of that facility would not require a site plan change. Well, at the time the initial site plan was approved, a very important issue was, and the thing that constrained the site to 9 beds was the lack of room for a septic system. If this problem is going to be cured by a sewer line, or an expansion of a septic system, that would seem to be part and parcel of requiring or something that would appear on a site plan. And since that did not exist at the time this site plan was approved, that would seem to be a change in the site plan. So I just wanted to make those comments. And lastly, I was surprised that my comments at that board meeting, they are recorded on the tape, which is, I'm very glad that the tape exists, but there was no mention in the minutes from that meeting that my comments had been made. And I was a bit disappointed that was not made part of the written record of that meeting. So that's all I wanted to allow the board or have the board hear from me at this point. But I think this is an issue that so far is still an open issue as far as I'm concerned. So thank you for your your time, and I'm expecting to hear. This has now been a month. A reaction to the fact that the police department was either unaware or had not been asked to verify that the condition for background checks had been fulfilled up till now as being another condition of that site plan approval. So I'm not sure when we're expecting to hear about that, but I'm still waiting. So.
I was not at that meeting. Does anybody wish to respond or?
I was not at that meeting either. I will go in between now and the next meeting, probably closer to the next meeting to keep it fresh. I will watch that video.
Thank you.
And do that. I will, and as the ex officio, I can talk to the police chief to find out what's going on.
I believe we have spoken to the police chief since that meeting, so.
All right, then I'll touch base with you.
And is the method for communicating what you've learned during that research, is that will that be communicated in some way other than your next public meeting?
It would probably be at the next meeting, which is January 12th, maybe.
And the chair that's not here was involved in that communication with the police, so, and she's not here tonight, so.
I'm just reading the minutes from that. But.
This is Frederick Center. I was at that meeting. As far as from what I got from, no decision was made or anything. I think we did discuss the topic in the sense of getting familiar with the situation, but nothing was really decided, or nothing actually was decided at all.
Fred, I wasn't there. What was the decision? What was the conversation?
No,
the decision.
Mr. Meeting came to us in reference to the Autumn 100 Autumn Drive expanding the use, but nothing was decided as 100 Autumn Drive. They weren't at that meeting, so we had continued it. But later in that meeting, we did. None of us were really familiar with what was going on or the history behind it. So we did discuss the history behind the situation, but we didn't really go over anything, and nothing was decided.
So that case was continued?
Yeah.
It's not really a case, Judy. There's no case. It's just resident expressing a concern, but we don't have, it wasn't a public hearing with a decision to be made. So it's not an ongoing case that is continued. You know what I mean? It's his concerns that he would like a response from the board about his concerns, but it's not a public hearing type of.
I guess it remains for me an open question when conditions of approval for a project would appear to be being violated, or at least someone is wanting to know whether they're being violated, that be discussed and decided whether or not, in fact, the conditions are being met. And I don't know
Is
what.
this something that should go to code enforcement, Judy?
So code enforcement has already made a decision on it. That's the issue. It's actually in zoning right now. So
Could I interrupt for a moment? There's an issue in zoning. That issue is whether or not the request for a building permit is permissible under the non-conforming use. That's a legitimate question. It is not the same question as to whether or not a site plan review is necessary for an expansion of use, which is a condition that the planning board imposed on the approval of that project. They're two separate issues.
So, okay, so that, the non-conforming use question is in zoning. So where is the discussion happening on expansion and?
if you would like, we probably should make this an agenda item. It's not on the agenda tonight. If you like to make it an agenda item, we can bring all the information forward, because I think not all the board is up to speed on everything that's transpired. And so possibly we should put it on the agenda. We'll bring all the information forward for the board, the history, and then what's happened more recently. And the board can decide whether they want to see a site plan review.
So we're gonna put that on our January, what is it, the 12th?
Yep, we can do that if you like.
What does the rest of the board feel?
I think that would be an excellent idea.
Frederickson, I concur as well.
Same.
All right, and we'll put that on there for an agenda item.
Okay. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Okay, the zoning amendment, being this late at night, do we want to go over them, or what is everybody's feeling?
If I could, at a minimum, if I can speak against you, ask, if you don't want to go through, this is the second presentation to the board of the zoning amendments. So we presented them maybe the first week in November, one of the November meetings. So you should have them. If anyone doesn't have them, I can send them again if you don't want to go through them. We have to have 2 public hearings, so we can schedule those public hearings as part of the 2 January meetings coming up, because those are required by RSA, and then we can review them again at that time. There's 5 of them that I'm proposing. We do not have to go forward with all of them. We can review them quickly, conceptually. I'm sorry, Judy?
Is this where we should ask a question tonight or wait until the public hearing?
Well, I guess at a minimum, is there, when I brought them up the last time, there was not a lot of discussion. If I could just get a consensus that we do want to at least put them to public hearing, or or are there any that you just do not even want to entertain? You can still amend them, you can still withdraw them, nothing's final, but if there's something that's glaring, there's no use in me drafting amendment proposals formally for public hearing if there's something that the board doesn't like.
I see some questions I have, and I don't know when the proper time is to ask them.
Well, I guess now is the time. I mean, this was just my.
Ask away.
Ask.
Yeah.
I've asked a lot tonight.
Good job.
Yeah. So under number 5, chickens.
Chickens. I knew that would be the
One
one.
I was on too.
Okay.
So I don't, and I put away all my regulations, so I don't know. But I believe I live in the village district.
Yep.
Which previously had not permitted chickens.
Well, there's actually no ordinance now at all about specifically chickens, right?
Okay, because I'm reading this, and I'm reading letter A. It shall be unlawful to keep more than the following number of hens on any tract of land: 1 to 2 acres, up to a total of 4 hens. I live on a quarter-acre lot,
No hens.
so it doesn't say. It just so I guess it only says no hens shall be allowed in multifamily dwellings. I don't live in a multifamily dwelling.
Well, do you want to, I guess this was meant that you are not allowed hens in less than an acre. So, if you want to make an allowance for smaller parcels, we can add.
My daughter will fight you on this one.
No, I mean,
I guess I would want to see something that says less than 1 acre, no
sure.
hens or roosters allowed, just because.
Well, there's no roosters allowed anywhere, so.
Well, no, but I know we had this come up a couple of years ago on Mountain View, maybe.
Mountain View.
Yeah, and that was a mess. You know, we got into setback issues, we got into smell issues, chicken poop issues, whatever you want to call it.
Right, that's why some of this hopefully addresses it. But I mean, we can make it more strict, we can make it less strict. This was my first draft at it, so I certainly can make it clearer that under 1 acre, no hens are allowed.
I think this is way overreaching. And 2 hens per acre on more than 5 acres. I don't know where this came from, but it's not people that have raised chickens. And no roosters. You need roosters at certain times to get the girls working. There's just, I think the whole ordinance is overreaching to people, and it should be on a case-by-case basis.
So how are you going to regulate it on a case by case? Yeah, this is fine. These are your ordinances.
Do we have a ton of people coming forward going, oh my gosh, I need a chicken?
No, we have a lot of people coming forward saying, my neighbor has chickens, it's a problem. Or my neighbor has a rooster, it's a problem. What are you going to do about it?
I guess you have to look at it in I see Judy's point, almost on a case by case, but also zoning, because in Judy's instance, she doesn't have neighbors really. I'm just using your house as an example, Judy. You know, and I don't know what district you live in. I forget, but you know, where I am,
it doesn't apply to agricultural district either, you know, because agricultural obviously is agricultural.
yeah, but then you get into like Caleb Hill, and you butt up against another district. So that's where we got into issues with that one in Mountain View.
Yeah, I mean, we can throw that. You don't have to have a chicken ordinance if you don't want one. This does address some of the issues, though, that you said of you can have them, but they can't be running all over the neighbors' yards. You have to have the food in containers to eliminate rodents. You know, you have to have a coop. So these are the kind of regulations. If you don't want any regulations that for chickens, I'm fine with that as well. A lot of towns have these ordinances now, and we do get a lot of complaints about chickens and roosters. And there's not a lot we can do because we don't really have an ordinance about it.
Well, the ordinance would cover, our noise ordinance would cover roosters because they're only a pain in the neck when they're talking at the wrong times.
Right. Well, that's what we do use now. But
and health officer could take care of too much poop and all that stuff. She can go address that. And if we're asking
nuisance is certainly an issue if they're running in your yard. But that's fine.
If you tell them they have to put a coop up, now you're making them put up a structure that they're going to get taxed on.
No, we don't tax on coops.
Oh, then you better check my tax card because the chicken coops in the peacock coop that is not used. Right. There's no peacocks in it.
Corrected. We didn't.
And I taxed on both of them, and they're very valuable in the town's eyes.
Well, if I can't have chickens, I want peacocks.
All right, that's fine. Do you guys want to You don't want to do the chicken ordinance? We don't have to do the chicken ordinance. It might be controversial anyway, they usually are.
Now the junkyard, nothing really changed other than you added uninspected.
Yeah, uninspected, just to clarify that. Again, we don't have to do that, that's clarification. Because people have,
If they didn't register, they're not gonna inspect it.
if they have cars that are not, well, you can register it without inspecting it. So if it's just unregistered, you can register and still have junk. So if it's not roadworthy, meaning uninspected, then it's junk. Again, another one that we spend a lot of time on.
There's a lot of junk. There's a lot of unregistered cars in town. I know that. Did we move on to junkyard? Is that what we moved on to
I guess so.
before we?
Chickens in the junkyard. There's chickens in the junkyard.
Chickens and junk.
That's
We're gonna give them old cars instead of coops.
They live in the cars.
Yeah. Because we're not gonna tax those.
Unless it's up on blocks. Oh.
So does anyone have a problem with the unregistered, uninspected?
Where am I? I lost my spot. No, I always thought that was the case, that you couldn't have more than one. I thought that was a state law that you couldn't have under more than one unregistered vehicle in your yard.
Unregistered, uninspected.
Well, I thought you couldn't. I thought that was a state
Yeah.
issue.
I think the state has the same, I think the state does say unregistered, uninspected. And so now our ordinance will say the same.
We have a lot of mill waste in town.
A lot of what?
Mill waste.
Mill waste?
Mill.
The definition, add definition, cotton, woolen, or other mill waste. Unfinished mill yarns.
I have a loom.
I didn't know if that was a big problem in town.
It almost sounds like you're going on hoarding. But
That's just a strange definition. Old paper, rubber products, discarded lumber.
Junk.
that's a definition from somewhere.
Yeah, it is. It's definition from this. Is it from the state?
Or the planning dictionary? I don't know.
Well, let's put that one aside. Can we go on to the next one and see where we at with accessory buildings?
It's just the red that's changed, right?
I'm sorry?
It's just the red that has changed.
Yeah, well, on accessory buildings, it was, it said in the table of dimensional value, it said may not occupy more than 10% of the side and rear setbacks. And the proposal is that an accessory building greater than 200 square feet would have to meet the setbacks in that district because it's a large structure. And then anything under 200 square feet would be within 10 feet of the property line. Not by percentage, just 10 feet if it's under 200 and meet all the setbacks of the zone if it's over 200 square feet. It's pretty straightforward. Because one person's going 1 foot in the setback, one person's going 2 feet in the setback, you know, versus just is it 10 feet or 20 feet? Usually it's 20 feet on a regular setback that's 200 square feet, because that's a pretty big building. Again, don't like it, we can change it or get rid of it.
Didn't it used to be 0?
I mean, I don't know what used to be. This is what's in where I have existing ordinance is what's in there now.
Oh, see what the public says.
Okay, we'll leave that one. So accessory building, we'll leave. General provisions. A single-family home or two-family house in any residential and mixed-use district may contain only one building used for dwelling purposes. More than one building on lots for a multifamily including cluster is permitted. So this addresses right now, and again, I don't know if this is what you want to allow, but the ordinance now will say, for example, mixed use is two dwellings. Or I don't have my zoning book with me at home, but in some of the districts it's like two, so you can have like two apartments, right? So you're allowed two dwellings. In the village, you're allowed 4 units, 4 dwelling units is the maximum, like the place across the street from town hall. But it doesn't define that you can't have 2 separate houses on one lot. So if you come to me and you want to build a second house on a lot, it's allowed without any special exception or zoning. So you can put 2, so you have 2 houses on one lot. You don't have to subdivide or anything. Where dwelling is usually meant how many units, apartment units or dwellings in one building. So this restricts a lot to a house. Again, don't know if that's what Tilton wants or US Planning Board want, but usually you try and keep lots to a dwelling building. So you're not building multiple, like on the lake, they have a couple, like they'll have 2 houses on one lot. It's allowed. So they don't have to subdivide or anything. And now you get into address and ownership, and now you're selling up a lot with 2 houses on it, or I don't know, it gets really messy with residential planning. So I haven't seen that in a long time. So that's what I was proposing. But again, if that's not what this board wants, I didn't have really any proposals come from the board. So this is what I put forward. So if you don't want that, we can certainly get rid of that as well. But right now we have to allow 2, like that 24 Silver Lake that's going in. He wanted to put 2 houses there. It's mixed use, really small lot. But I had to say, yeah, you can put 2 houses on it. He barely can put 1 house on it. But it's allowed. So,
Doesn't he still have to meet backs and everything?
well, he's going to zoning for setbacks, but they're not really addressing the fact that it's 2 dwellings. They'll have to address the setback issue. But I mean, there's a lot of examples like that. So it's just, I'm putting out there, again, these are all drafts for your discussion. It's nothing personal for me. I don't live in Tilton. So, I mean, I guess, does anyone have any questions about it or concerns about it? You can always get a variance to build a second house, I guess, if you really wanted to, but it's very unusual to allow 2 separate home dwellings, but usually you subdivide, you have them do a subdivision, and like this lady's doing up on Pest House, right? Rather than building another house on the same lot. So, wow. The next one, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just seeing if anyone had any input on that one.
Eric, you must have some input.
I don't.
Okay. I won't try to, the next one really kind of addresses the class 6 roads. There's nothing in there in your ordinance that talks about the class 6 roads. So I added that in. It is a state kind of like the junk. I mean, there is a state, but we don't have it in our ordinance. So I added that in. All buildings should have frontage on a publicly approved street or class 1 through class 5. So that's pretty much a standard ordinance. It usually is in your ordinance about building on class 6. They have to have 1 through 5. So I wanted that added. Because we do have class 6 roads come up.
So let me ask you this question. I'll use the one that we had tonight as a example, where depending on how you subdivided that lot, if you if they came in off the class 6 road, but they still had frontage that wrapped around the other lot and touched the class 5 road, does that make it
Does that
approvable?
make it allowed, you mean?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, obviously you still have to deal with the class 6 road, but what I'm saying is because they use a class 6 road and still wrap around and touch because it says have to have frontage. Doesn't say it has to have a driveway on class 1 through 5. It just says has to have frontage.
Well, your driveway is going to be your frontage, right? Your driveway is going to be where
Driveway's on the class 6. If your driveway's on the class 6
class
road,
6 road,
okay, but your land touches the class 5.
right?
Is that permissible?
No, I wouldn't think so.
I don't know.
But
I'm thinking of the example we had tonight. Those people, it sounded like they couldn't put a driveway in on class 5 road. So they go in a class 6, but let's say that the way they subdivide that lot, however they chop it up, but it still has frontage on class 5 road.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm not making sense.
No, I know what you're saying, Eric. I just can't. I still think it's building on a class 6 road because your frontage is on a class 6 road. So regardless if it wraps around, but
I think you have to look at the safety factors on that though, Leanne, and that would be how would emergency vehicles access the house if they had to get it? If, for instance, if the class 6 road was not properly maintained or plowed during the winter or whatever.
right, that's why you need that agreement. All right, last one I have is accessory dwelling units, which that's the one I think, Judy, is the red, only what's crossed out. So right now, this is the existing ordinance, 10.8 for accessory dwelling, and the only change is that in the third bullet, the accessory dwelling unit shall comprise no more than 35% or 750 square feet, whichever is greater, of the living space of the entire primary structure, not including the ADU. So now it just says of the floor area of the entire structure. So we've gotten in a lot of different discussions with applicants on what that calculation is, because what is floor space and of what structure? Do you count their barn, their garage, their basement, their attic? So again, I think the intent, or I believe the intent, was that it's living space and it's the primary structure, not a separate garage counted as part of the square footage for calculating an accessory dwelling. But again, that's my understanding. And so for clarification, if that isn't the understanding, then I think we still need to clarify, but what you want it to be, what 35% should be. If it's going to include all structures, then we should say all structures, and it should include gross square footage, if that's what you want to calculate. But you don't usually count basements, attics, porches, and decks when you figure what is an allowable square footage. So most ordinances usually say living space. So that's the only change on that one. Anyone have any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. So if I got it right, chickens is gone. Is that right? We're not going to deal with chickens in 2020. We'll let that go for another year. And because I think it's always controversial anyway, even if you guys wanted it. So I'm fine. I took a stab at it. Accessory buildings, are you okay with changing the 200 and the 10 feet for anything under 200? Or at least proposing it for a public hearing?
Yeah, get some public input and see what people think.
Okay, so that one we'll bring forward. The accessory dwelling for the living space, will let that come forward to public hearing, I'm saying. Not hearing any objections. And then the one single family home, one building per lot. We'll bring that forward for public hearing, general provisions, and the junk. So we're throwing away the chickens and we'll go with everything else for now for public hearing in January? Yes, no,
See what
maybe?
they say.
Yeah, anything else that you want me to try and bring forward for the hearing? Anything new? Anybody have any concerns?
No, I'm good.
I think at some point we should add some clarification to our permitted use list. There's a lot of gray areas in there, and maybe we can put a little more definition in those, kind of like these people said with the wellness. And we had the landscaping company come in. We didn't really have a landscaping use on there. Maybe we can add some uses. I don't know. Not this year, but maybe next year then. I don't know if anyone has anything else.
As they come up.
Huh?
There's
We should
always-
note them, yeah, we should note them as they come up and we don't have a category for the next year.
What about solar?
Solar. Yeah, we could use the solar ordinance.
I think that's coming up sooner. I wonder. We don't have time to get that on for this year, do we?
Well, I mean, we have time. If I wrote it and got it in the hearing, you wouldn't have time to review it before the hearing, though. We don't have a meeting. I can, if I get a chance, I can see if I can pull something. Usually they're kind of long. I can see what's around, maybe test the waters on. I can send them out to you electronically if I find something that seems to be feasible. I don't know what direction you want to go with solar.
I think Northfield just permitted a solar farm.
Leanne, the state has a whole proposal. To your point, it is very long though. It would probably need
Yeah, they're
more.
long.
Yeah.
They're long. I mean, I'm sure we can get something, but it's going to be long. We'll see. I'll note it, and if I can get something to you before the public hearing for you to at least look at, and you can always answer me via email. And if we can, we'll get into the public hearing.
Sandminton has a well thought out solar.
They do? Sandminton does?
They also address
wind
turbines.
Yeah, wind turbines. That's what I was going to say. They must also do wind.
All right, we have under other business, do we have anything else for other business? Anybody from the public have other business?
Chairman, it's John Scanlon.
Oh, thank you. I don't have a picture. Yes, John.
Yes, for a couple months I've been asking about White Rock and getting them to complete their facilities there. They stated that they had made plantings, and then somebody replied with the type of planting, said they were evergreen. However, those aren't the ones that were on the labels of the plants they put in, nor were the ones that they suggested evergreen. And Christine had made a motion to go with the arborvitaes and plantings on the east, when you're heading east, as Mr. Pyra recommended. And it seems like they aren't doing it. I was wondering what was up with that.
Do you have an update on that, Leanne? I know that was going all around the place.
Yep. So White Rock did put in those plantings along the road. The state, I guess, did not want the arborvitaes according to them. I don't believe the motion actually said arborvitaes, but certainly the board can revisit the minutes on that. I'll be happy to make those available. I'm not an expert on bushes and types and what they do. I do have the tags, and I did get a response from the company that put those plantings in. They're the same ones that did the solar. And I can forward it to you again, and we can make it an agenda item, and you can decide what action you want to take. They did put in a different type of planting than arborvitaes. Again, I don't think the motion said arborvitaes. However, that was the discussion. So I can make the minutes available as well as his comments to why they changed the plantings from what was discussed. The easterly side, I guess, I'm not even sure. The easterly side would be not on the road side, but on the entrance to the park side. Is that right, Eric? Is that where we're talking? I'm not even sure.
It would be the east entrance. What was the date of that hearing?
The date of the White Rock hearing, it was April 22nd, I believe. I have the minutes. I sent it to everyone.
I got them right here. April 28th.
22nd. What is it?
April 28th.
All right, close enough. Because I know we were in COVID, so I know we were here.
I actually had put.
The motion says to landscaping on the easterly side, I think is all the motion says, I believe, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what page it is, but it says me stated the arborvitae should be on the eastern entrance of White Rock.
During the discussion, right? Yep.
Yeah, I don't see the
motion's a little further down, I think. But I think, Judy, even you would make comments that, you can buy the arborvitaes, they're cheap in the fall, blah, blah, blah. But again, I don't think.
The intent was definitely there.
Right. I do think that I don't think there was, and this is my opinion, I don't think there was any malice, if that's the right word, of them putting in these, because they were definitely much more expensive than arborvitaes. So I don't think they were doing it to be, go in opposition to the board's wishes. I think they might have thought they were doing the right thing. I'm not really sure. I know the tag said $100 a plant. So they certainly could have gotten arborvitaes, I know, for a lot less than that. So I don't believe they did anything purposely to go against the board wishes. For whatever reason, they thought they were doing the right thing. I know they said they consulted. However, that all being said, we can review it. The board can decide how they want us to move forward with that, whether they want all these plantings. I mean, there's $1,000 worth of plantings. We can have them take them all up, remove them, and put some $20 arborvitaes in there. I don't know what the state's position is on it. And on the easterly side, we can have them put some arborvitaes over there as well, if that's for the board.
I'll raise my hand again.
Yes.
I'm reading the minutes, and it says Christine Dembitsky motion to approve White Rock application 2001 with the following conditions: planting buffer on the east side. That's all it says, according to the minutes.
And the east side being?
It just says on the east side.
East side of what? East side, right. But anyway.
New York? I don't know.
I mean, if it's the east side, meaning the side of the entrance where there's a house, if you're
the east side.
I mean, what would it cost to put, how many arborvitaes they want there and
well, what happens in a case where we want something and the state comes in and says we don't want that type of planting along our highway?
I don't know. Why don't I will send again the response from them of why they did it. And I'll get some more information on the type of plant it is, and we'll get the minutes and we can put it on as other business if you want, and the board can decide how they want us to move forward. But I don't know. I don't know if you want. We'll do whatever you want us to do. I do think in the future, if we do anything like that, we need to be really specific because even if they had put in 5 arborvitaes, would that have been enough? So we didn't say how many we wanted. We didn't mention arborvitaes in the motion. And again, I understand Mr. Scanlon's position that wasn't what the board discussed, but I honestly don't believe that the applicant was trying to be to not conform to what the board wanted. So even though they didn't put in the arborvitaes. I mean, I can go put in some arborvitae's for $20 a piece if you want. They're cheap. So let's, I guess when the whole board's together, again, we've only got 4. It's up to the chair how they want to proceed on this, whether you want to make a decision tonight on, I can send them a letter that says they need to be on the
Okay,
east.
we'll put it,
I'm sorry, Judy?
I think we should put it on an agenda item for next meeting.
Okay.
I have one other thing.
Yes.
Yes, I think, I can't remember the town. Was it Dover or Durham? I think, Eric, I gave you a copy of a sample solar ordinance.
Well, I want to say it was Durham.
I think I gave you like 5 copies. I can also forward a thing of that. And I'm not against solar in any way, so I don't want anybody to misconstrue that. But the ordinance that I mentioned and brought up, showed Eric and the other selectmen, what it does is it allows for the solar, but it gives guidance as to, how far it should be set back from the face of the building in historical districts, in agricultural districts, whether or not you can, the height of them in that. They have a really good ordinance that I think it took them almost 2 years to get it through. So I can send you a copy of that. You can look at it. It might be something that would be adoptable. And I think would be really good because right now we don't have one. So this is the dilemma that you guys are stuck with, is when people come to you, you got to make it up on the fly. And then, it would be a good thing. I don't know if there's enough time to kind of squeeze it in before the town meeting and get it, right. But I can forward that over to you, Leanne.
Okay, John, that'd be great.
Yeah. And then that might help. And then the next thing would be, we have to look at wind. As we're going to less reliance on fossil fuels, we want to try and stay ahead of the game so everything kind of is uniform and you're not having to battle it out with the people who are putting stuff in each time. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, on to approval of the minutes. November 10th was tabled to the 24th. So now we have 2 months to approve. Has anyone had an opportunity to look at the November 10th minutes?
Yeah, hold on. I gotta find them.
Still with us, Fred?
I'm here.
Lose Fred. Oh, yay.
I'm here. Okay.
There we go. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Make sure that goes on the record. Well, didn't we just wait? This was what meeting minutes are you trying to approve?
November 10th to start with.
All right. I was not. You and I were not at that meeting.
Correct.
But can I still make a motion to approve the minutes?
You're muted, Leanne.
I think so.
Sorry, yes, you can. I'm sorry. Yes, you can.
Good. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes on November 10th.
Frederickson, a second.
Thank you, Fred. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Roll call.
Ira, yes.
Anna, yes.
Dembitsky,
Tilton,
yes.
All right. Minute of the November 24th meeting.
Judy, you said yes, right?
Yes.
I didn't catch yours. Yep, you were
Yes.
yes. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Everyone had a chance to look them over?
I did.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of November 24th as written.
Frederick, second.
Do we have a second? Thank you, Fred. Any discussion? All those in favor? Roll call.
Ira, yes.
Anna, yes.
Dembitsky, yes.
Tilton, yes. Is there any other business to come before the board this evening? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Ira, yes.
Anna, yes.
Dembitsky, yes.
All right, Janice, that's everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
I go to bed.
You do. Bye-bye.